Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Racha, Kwadash, Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Double honors to my elder, Aharawan Ban Yasharala of the Lions Den Camp, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. Also, salutations to the sincere Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Harab Ban Yasharala, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharala, located here in Jacksonville, Florida. And now today I'll be coming out with a lesson. The title of this lesson is don't waste your words. Because we speak to people from time to time, and this was inspired by a post that the brother Mazan put up. But I seen this picture first before I seen the brother Mazan post. And I was looking for a lesson. I was like, okay. And then when I seen the brother Mazan post, I was like, okay, yeah, it's solidified. But yeah, it inspired this lesson through the power and spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai, but like not wasting your words. So it says here, it says, before you argue and or talk with someone, and ask yourself, is this person mentally mature enough to grasp the concept of a different perspective? Is this person mentally mature enough to grasp the concept of the wisdom that you're going to speak to them? Is this person spiritually alive to even receive what you're going to say? And even in situations outside of, you know, I don't really want to say it like that, but outside of Yahweh Shemi Shai, or I would say other conversations. There you go, other conversations about various other things. You have to ask yourself, is this person gonna have enough understanding for me to give my answer or give the correct answer from a different perspective, or just the correct answer, period? Because the right answer is the right answer. Because see, when you start to do all that, well, it's a right answer from your perspective, that's when you get all that ambiguity and lines go to getting blurred. But before you speak with someone, ask yourself, don't waste your words. And that posted the brother Marzan of this camp, he was like basically telling you to avoid people that's just full of questions. Them people that like they'll ask you a question, you answer their question, and they don't digest the first question or the first answer, so like you, and then they go ask you another question, and that's what inspired this lesson, these two posts. So don't waste your words. You talk to somebody and you see they ain't grasping it, no matter how easy you trying to make it and give it to them, if they not grasping it, avoid them. Don't waste your words. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Before I read the first, I, I got two introductory scriptures. This is Sirach chapter 20, verse 30. It says, wisdom that is hid and treasure that is hoarded up, what profit is in them both? So wisdom that is hid and treasures that are hoarded up, what use is it to you? Though the title of this lesson is don't waste your words, at the same time, we can't just not speak, especially when it's occasion to speak according to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So wisdom that is here. So though we have the wisdom, knowledge, and the understanding, and though we can answer questions based on that wisdom, it don't do us no good if it's hidden. If we hiding it, putting it under a napkin, not using it, not applying it. Verse 31. Better is he that hideth his folly than a man that hideth his wisdom. So a man that'll hide his folly by acting right is better than a man that'll hide his wisdom and not speak at all. But don't waste your words either. Again, this is Sirach chapter 32, Verse 7. Speak, young man, if there be need of thee, yet scarcely when thou art twice asked, Salakia. So speak if there be need. Yeah, speak when there is occasion to speak. When there's need. But yesly when thou art twice asked. Especially you done asked somebody and they say you like, I just told you. That's when you start scarcely speaking to them. You give them something, but it ain't no it ain't I would say it ain't no flow. It's like here go a little drip for you, cause you can't take a flow, you know. But nonetheless, verse 8: Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words. Let your speech be short. You say something quick, you know, cut off, right? Well, not cut off, but just quick to the point, you know. But with wisdom. But you comprehend much in few words. You can understand. You make sure that you're understanding a lot or making sense with what you're saying in very few words. And it says, and be as one that knoweth, yet holdeth his tongue. So be as one that know and understand that you know and understand what you understand, but hold your peace, hold your tongue. You know, but still, don't waste your words either. Don't not speak. Well, I'm but just don't waste your words, meaning don't cast your pearls before swine, basically. But let's continue now. Let's go to Sirach 19, verse 6. It says, He that can rule his tongue live without strife, and he that hateth much babbling shall have less evil. So when you rule your tongue, you live without strife. How does the saying goes? Loose lips sink ships. Uh, Going back to Proverbs, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So if you rule your tongue, you can live without strife. You won't have any problems. He that hateth babbling will have less evil. Evil, so like it. People that's always babbling, you know, somebody constantly always talking, just all the time, just babbling, just saying anything, ain't thinking, coming up with the same old sob story all the time. Just, yeah, you know, you'll have less evil if you avoid it, like the brother Mazan put on the post. You'll avoid it, and it's telling you in the scriptures too. So make sure people can assess what you're saying before you say it to them. Some people is retarded. Let's continue. Verse 11 of Sirach chapter 19. It says, A fool travaileth with a word, as a woman in labor of a child. So a fool is going to travail with a word as a woman in labor of a child. Well, when a woman is in labor of a child, what happens? It's painful. She's screaming out. Them sharp shooting pains, whapping the flying flip phone out of her. She's probably screaming. Guess what? A fool travaileth with the same travail with the wise word, the same way a woman travails with childbirth. It's painful. It harms them. It hurts them. They can't grasp it. It's like arrows sticking in their brain, proverbially or spiritually. It hurts them. So that's why a fool travails with the word like that. He fight with it. He struggle with it. He can't grasp it. He can't get the understanding. Let's continue. Okay, all right. This is Sirach, chapter 20, verse 5. It says, There is one that keepeth silence and is found wise. Another by much babbling becometh hateful. So there was one. You keep silent. Guess what? You found wise when you hold your tongue and you just sit and you listen. You find out. But those that babble much, much talking, much speaking, they become hateful because they start to say things. They start to contradict themselves after a while. They say one thing and they say something totally against what they just said, and that's babbling. People just saying anything, just saying this and saying that and saying this. Like, yo, yeah. When you hate, you know what I'm saying? When you babbling, you become hateful. You become disliked. Verse 6. Some man holdeth his tongue because he hath not to answer. Sometimes we don't speak because we don't know the answer. Or sometimes you have the one that keepeth silence and some that keepeth silence and knowing his time. Somebody the brother might know. He just ain't saying that. Why? Because he waiting for his opportunity. Or he'll sit back and be quiet and be like, let me see who else who know this. This various things like that. But nonetheless, some man keepeth silence. When you're using wisdom, you don't answer people because you don't know. A wise man can be like, oh yeah, I don't know that. A babbler ain't gonna never ever tell you what they don't know. They're gonna tell you they know everything. But you say a few sentences to them and it destroy everything they say they know. But there is one that keepeth silence and is found wise. By much babbling becomes hateful. You have some that hold their tongue because they don't know the answer, and some keep silence, knowing when to answer, how to answer. It's a great skill. We need to become masters of that. Verse 7. A wise man will hold his tongue till he see opportunity, but a babbler and a fool will regard no time. So a wise man is gonna hold his tongue till he wait. Look at the picture of Dick Gregory. He looked like he listening and he waiting for his time to answer. A wise man is gonna hold his tongue till he see opportunity. But the fool and the babbler is the one that's gonna not regard any time. Blah blah, talking, constantly talking. Verse 8. He that useth many words shall be abhorred, and he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated. So when you use many words, most people they get hateful because they use many words. I would say you start to dislike them. You be like, man, you just talking, man. Every time you open your mouth, you just running your face. That's how people be. They're using all these various words, but guess what? Eventually they'll become abhorred. They'll become disliked. They'll become irksome or bothersome. And he that taketh to himself authority therein shall be hated. And we have those that have taken authority unto themselves. And now they're hated. And they're hated of Yahweh while Yahweh shot first. And then they're hated of the true men of the Lord. And why? Because these ones that are hated through their much babbling and have become abhorred. The reason why they're hated because they're not telling the truth. They're not teaching the truth. They're going off on doctrine. They're saying certain prophecies won't happen and certain prophecies don't mean certain things when it is clear in the scriptures. They go off on doctrine. So they tell the truth, i.e., so they're in sin. So the Lord hates that. And we hate what the Lord hates. He hates wickedness and evil and sin. We hate the same thing, even though we're mortal men and we're in these bodies, and these bodies are subject to sin. We still hate transgression of Yahweh by Hashem Shai, just like he hated. So that's why these men have become hateful. These men that have taken authority in themselves have become hateful. When you do that, that makes you become hateful. You start trying to think, oh yeah, I'm in charge. Swole armpit syndrome, like, or like some kind of intimidation factor. That's a lack when you see cats doing that. But let's continue with the scriptures. Let's see. Verse 13. A wise man by his words maketh himself beloved. But the graces of fools shall be poured out. So a wise man will maketh himself loved, beloved, respected, and honored by his words, by his wisdom. But when it comes down to the graces of a fool, it's just gonna be poured out. They waste. It's just like wasting substance or something. It just dissipates. It don't do nobody any benefit. It's poured out all out at once in one spot. But let's continue. Sirach chapter 21, 18 and 19. It says, as is a house that is destroyed, so is wisdom to a fool, and the knowledge of the unwise is talk without sense. So just like a house that is destroyed with a wrecking ball or a car crashing through it or an explosion going off within it, so is wisdom to a fool, meaning wisdom have the same exact effect on a foolish person. It destroys them. And it says, and the knowledge of the unwise is talk without sense. So again, the knowledge of the unwise is talk without sense. Have you ever heard some of these so-called leaders in Israel? You know, the wicked scribes and Pharisees. They just talk without sense. They say one thing, and next thing you know, they said something else. Now they done contradicted themselves. And see, now they're more aware of that. You know, because the children of the Lord that are aware of how things supposed to go, when we hear that unwise talk, we say something. We gonna point it out. We gonna point out the fact that it don't make no sense. It's talk without sense. But there are lessons in everything. Verse 19. Doctrine unto fools is as fetters on the feet and like manacles on the hand. So doctrine on the fools is it locks them up. They can't help it. Any a different perspective from what they think or what they feel or what they know, a different perspective, it locks them down. Especially if you put in the wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in front of what you're saying and in what you're saying and how you're moving. Yeah, it's like being locked up, being chained down, being in shackles. That's what wisdom does into a fool, or i.e. doctrine does into a fool. It makes them feel restricted and constrained. Sirach 22. Verse 7. It says, whoso teacheth a fool is as one that glueth potsherd together, and as he that waketh one from a sound sleep. So when you're teaching somebody foolish, or you know you're talking to somebody foolish, and you're still trying to give it to them, it's like trying to take and glue back together a glass teapot that was broken into a hundred pieces. You're gonna be there all day trying to glue it, and then if you do get it glued back together, guess what? It's not sound. It ain't gonna hold nothing. So it's gonna bust and break anyway. So it'll be just that's so like when it's teaching, you teaching a foolish person to talking to a foolish person. That's what it's like. It's trying to glue a pot back together or a glass, whatever, back together. Or if not that, it's like waking somebody up out their sleep. Most people ain't super responsive at first when they first wake up from sleep. That's how it is of talking to a foolish person. Verse 8. He that telleth a tale to a fool speaketh to one in a slumber. When he hold Salakia, when he hath told his tale, he will say, what is the matter? Salakia. Salakia. But again, when you when you tell a tale to a fool, it'll be just like talking to somebody that's asleep, completely unresponsive. And when you have said all you have said to this person, they'll say, okay, that what you were saying again? Or they'll ask another question after you just told them something. So don't waste your words. But you don't get to hide your wisdom either. It ain't like we can hide it anyway. But what I mean by that is like refraining from speaking when you're supposed to speak. When the Lord say speak. That's what I mean. Let's continue. Verse 15. It says, no, verse 14. What is heavier than lead? And what is the name thereof but a fool? Lead is a pretty heavy metal. And a foolish person? Oh, man. Especially if they have a name for themselves. But let's continue. Verse 15 is the point. And it says, sand and salt and a mass of iron is easier to bear than a man without understanding. And you got to think, things like sand and salt and a mass of iron, once you start to get sand and salt and those things together in a big amount, that stuff get heavy. The Lord is saying it's easier to carry that. Like a mass of iron. Iron is a very hard, tough metal. And it is very heavy too. The Lord said that is easier to bear than a man without understanding. And that's true. You ever talk to someone? We've all had that. We've talked to someone without understanding, no matter what we did, but a lot of times, no matter what we said, I should say, they didn't budge. But a lot of times that is a trying method that the Heavenly Father uses with the Akim. To try you either when you first come in or after you done been in for a while. Love like, let me go in on temper you real quick. That edge looking like it's starting to roll over. I need that edge back sharp again. You know. But the Lord, he does use that. But boy, look here, basically talking to a person with no understanding, that's a hard thing. You feel scrubbed up and dried and scraped up after you didn't talk to him for so long. Sometimes you leave frustrated or a little bit of headache or whatever, but it ain't good. So don't waste your words. Last point. Proverbs 14:7. Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. So once we figure out and start to see, the Lord tells you to go from the presence of a foolish man, somebody that you know. You leave from around them. Why? Because if you stay around them, the conversation could spark back up, or it could be jacked up, weird energy, or confrontation can actually break out. So it says leave, because if you leave, you quell all that because you're not there. That foolish person probably gonna still be walking around mad and yeah, but but once you perceive and ain't no understanding, you go about your business. Don't waste your words. Shalom.